Welcome to the Standing Out in Ohio podcast, where we discuss topics, upcoming events, news, and predictions with real estate professionals and entrepreneurs. Listen and learn what makes their companies and themselves stand out and gain advantages over the competition and gain market share. Subscribe for the latest news and discussion on what it takes to stand out from the crowd. Now, here's your host, Jim.
Hey everybody, this is Jim and then Laura, the office guy, is here with me. We're gonna make this class brief. This is for new home buyers or it could be a used house you're buying, doesn't matter, but a lot of buyers are very confused about the home inspection report. And unfortunately, a lot of home buyers, the first report they ever see is the report on their house. And if you don't know what to expect, you could be in like
shock.
Yeah, like sticker shock maybe. So we're gonna go over some things, and then we have questions that we've had from past classes that we're gonna put in there, and that way answer your questions. If you have any questions down the road, you can definitely give us a call. Our phone number is there on the screen right down there on the bottom of it. So let's go and get started. One question we always get is this a pass or fail?
No.
Go ahead and answer that, Laura. Yeah.
So pass or fail means that we're making the decision about the house and if it's okay for you to buy. We don't know what your skill set is. We don't know what kinds of friends you have. We can't sit here and go, yes, you should buy this house, or no, you shouldn't, because that's all on you and what your comfort level is.
Yeah, it's never a pass or fail, and there's never a perfect house.
No. And it's always your decision with what your comfort level is. We don't know how much money you've got saved. We don't know how much you're willing to put into a house. All on you.
Yep.
No pass or fail. It just is what it is.
Correct. So by the end, you'll have expectations of what to expect from a home inspection. You'll know the common areas of concern that we find during home inspections. And there are a lot of common things that we find, new houses and old houses. It does not matter. There's always issues. And what some common and not so common findings, answer questions, which we're going to put in here to help you out. And then help avoid any kind of misunderstanding of what's in the inspection, or what the scope and the limits of the inspection. We'll talk a little bit about what's acceptable to request on the request to remedy if you're having that done. And then of course, with all this stuff, you'll be a lot more relaxed, more knowledgeable. And we don't want to see you lose a house because you decide not to buy the house over minor issues. Now, why are people getting the houses inspected? Fear of being cheated. They want to avoid major unknown issues. Sometimes it's to renegotiate how much they're paying for the house. We've seen that.
Yep. Sometimes
it's just to get out of the deal.
We've had that too.
We've had people who, as soon as they get to the inspection, at the very beginning, they tell us, hey, just so you know, we're not going to buy this house.
Find everything.
So find what you can. I mean, we're going to find things already, but they already know they don't want the house. Right. And we've had people sabotage their deals because they don't want to buy the house. So that's not the best reason to have an inspection. Get out of the deal. If you don't want the house, you don't want the house.
Right.
But we feel people, they want reassurance that they're going to be surprise free. They're making a good choice.
They're not getting cheated,
yes.
Screwed over.
Yes. Because doing the inspection greatly enhances your knowledge of what's going on at the house. That's the best protection for you. So be forewarned is be forearmed, because you don't want you freaking out about little things. So scopes and limits, pools and hot tub are not part of the home inspection. You can always pay to have that added, but if you're doing the basic home inspection, hot tub, pools, not part of the inspection. Sewer line, once it goes out that foundation, you got your sewer pipe. Once it goes through that foundation wall or into that floor, it is outside the scope of every single licensed state that I'm aware of. Every national association for home inspectors is outside of the scope. Outbuildings, like if there's a pole barn, that's not part of the home inspection.
It's not part of the home.
You can always add that, and we can take a look at it. environmental concerns like volatile organic compounds, chemicals are in the air,
Mold.
molds, not part of it. Lead, that's not part of it. You need a special license to do that. Just assume any house that's 1979 or earlier probably has a little bit of lead-based paint in it. Just as long as you're not going to sand, sniff, lick the paint, you're probably going to be okay. If you have little kids, you got to be more careful. But
Make sure that none of the paint is chipping, keep it
Yeah.
nice and coated with fresh paint.
yep,
You'll be fine.
no, inspectors are not required to walk dangerous roofs. In fact, they're not required to walk on any roof at all, even a low
Right.
slope, single story, not required to do that. Of course, we will, and we encourage our inspectors to walk every roof that they can safely.
Safely being the operative word.
Yes, wintertime is a little bit harder. Concealed areas, if it's behind drywall, it's concealed. You can't find it. Locked doors, you can't get in
We
the area.
do not drill holes in drywall or in doors trying to see what's in that.
Yeah, we're not gonna
behind
damage
that. We
things, do
don't
that.
damage anything.
Rodents, critters, not part of the inspection. You need, once again, here in Ohio, and I think a
Special
lot of states, you probably need a special license to do that. And just so you know, in the state of Ohio, with the standard, every home inspector could actually walk over a pile of dead rats and in the house and not mention that and still be within the standards. And that surprises a lot of people about that. We would never do that. If there's a pile of dead rats, we're taking a picture.
You take a picture and staying away.
That's
from
going to be put in the report. Go, hey, recommend you consult a pest, animal control company. But legally, you could
You don't have
totally
to do
ignore
anything.
that and be fine. Now, termites, wood destroying insects, special license. All of our inspectors can do that. So that's something you would add on to the inspection. Asbestos,
Wait.
special license for that.
If you are doing a VA loan, it is required that you have a termite. So if you're doing a VA loan, automatically order it up front. If there are outbuildings and they're listed in the MLS, those have to be included. So make sure you let whoever is scheduling know this is a VA loan. I need the termite and there's extra buildings. How much extra is it?
Your loan officer will tell you
Your
if you
loan-
need to get that done.
If it's a VA loan, you will need to.
Yes, but if you want a termite, do not wait until after the inspection. Try and order the termite a couple of days later because you want to see how the inspection goes first. It's going to cost you more because now it's a separate trip to go out there. So
Right.
order everything to be done
At
at
first.
the time of the inspection. Now, inspectors are not going to be digging through insulation, and they're definitely not going to swim through a flooded crawl space or a basement. I've seen flooded basements. We can't go in that stuff.
No, that's not safe. You don't know
No.
anything about electricity being in there.
Oh yeah, it could be electricity and electrified water, or there's a sump pump failed. Some pumps are plugged into walls.
Right.
So there could be something. So we can't do that stuff. So that's part of the scope and the limits. Like I said, most people have never seen a home inspection, at least not recently. But almost nobody shows the home buyer how to look at a report and read it. And that's a shame. Because it can be a shock to you when you see everything that's in the report. And it's not all bad things, but it's stuff so you know what's going on at the house.
Right.
And we know a lot of good things in the reports as well. And lots of pictures, which make the report longer. And
So don't panic. There are a lot of pictures to show you where your water shut off is, that your furnace worked, that your water heater worked. And it's basic information like that you can take to an insurance company or a warranty company and go, no, this did work. See?
Yep. So there are a lot of things that are commonly found at every home inspection. We did have a question. Somebody want to know how long does the inspection last? Usually about 2.5 hours. If the inspector is ever not going to be 2 hours, should always be a house at least 2 hours. I've had some houses where an hour and a half is like a little condo, you're done. But if they say that will take about an hour, no,
Get a new
get a
inspector.
different inspector. That's ridiculous to be that quick on any property. So about 2.5 hours is average. We always block out 3 hours just to make it easy for scheduling.
The minor maintenance items, Those are
Yeah.
not things that should be on the request to remedy. You want stuff on the request to remedy. Usually people come up with like a dollar amount, like anything over 1,000, for example. So if you've got something that's a major issue, like maybe structural or roof repair or something like that, that's more of the kind of things you're going to look at, as opposed
Yeah.
to you need outlet covers. They're a
Or
bucket less.
missing caulking around
Yeah.
bathroom fixtures. So you don't want to freak out over small items. We've seen people freak out over little items. That is evidence to us that they were not prepped by their agent to know what to expect from a home inspection. We've had people just not want to buy the house because they thought there should never be a report on the house.
Right, because their agent said it's fine, that's
That
perfect.
did not set expectations. So there's always,
There's always something.
Yep. So on the exterior, which also part of the foundation, there's almost always very common the grading issues where you got the house right here and the ground of the outside house is sloping toward the house. So the rain will get directed toward the house. Very common, very easy to fix. Just bring some dirt, extend some downspouts,
Drain it
take
away.
away. Vegetation growing too close to house, like
Trees.
rose
Flowers.
bushes, they stick too close to the house, bushes, and they grow, they get bigger, they start hitting the house. Got to avoid that. Cracks in the foundation, there's pretty much always a crack in the foundations.
Doesn't that have something to do with how it dries?
How it dries and shrinks, and there's always a little bit of movement the first couple of years, especially, and after that. But as long as they're small, and small being 1/8 inch or less, is common, not a concern. Like this in here, small. This is a poured concrete foundation. There's still little cracks. You can see little moisture stains. Guarantee on the outside of that there was a downspout was just dumping the water right next to that corner, not taking the water away. So that's how you get a little moisture coming in. Not a structural concern. You never want moisture in the basement, but it's Ohio. It's going to happen anyway. Not a big deal. Extend the downspout, maybe seal that, and you're good. This is more of a concern. We have a foundation that's bowing, is leaning in, and you got a crack that's, especially one that wide, that is an issue. And this is something inspectors are trained to look for. In the kitchen, there's a lot of little things we look for in the kitchen. Most of these things in the kitchen are pretty easy to take care of. Nothing's a major deal. Like the high loop, that just helps the dishwasher drain and not have water from the sink going to the dishwasher. GFCIs, they're about $20 a piece if you buy them at Lowe's, Home Depot. It's a safety item, but they're only $20 to purchase that item. Then wiring for disposal, that's usually not ideal, but it's, once again, not a terrible fix. It's just a wire exposed, not a big deal to take care of that. And I do think a lot of people just take that and tuck it out of the way, and they're just careful they don't accidentally tug on it.
Tuck on it, yeah.
And that's it. Moisture at the base of the toilet, once again,
Very
pretty
common.
common. The wax ring for that is about a $5 part. It's just a hassle of pulling the toilet and putting the new wax ring down and replacing it. Well, it's not expensive. It's something important, but it's not hard or expensive to do. Diverter valve, where you go from pull the lever, take the water from the tub spout up to the shower head. Sometimes they leak. Once again, it's not a big deal, but these are something we'll find on not every house, but it's common enough that there's a good chance it'll be there. In the electrical panel, we'll find double taps, which most breakers are designed to hold one wire connect to it. Double taps where you have 2, 3, we've even seen 4 wires going into one breaker. Not supposed to do that. Bundle neutrals, the ground faults, not resetting. That's the test and reset button on the outlets you'll find in your bathrooms and kitchens. Arc fault circuit interrupters, very similar to GFCI, but these are usually in the panel, and they will shut the power off if there's a spark in the line. So AFCI prevent fires, GFCI prevent people getting shocked.
And the GFCI, if you have your own house, you should be testing them monthly, because not testing them will make them fail sooner.
Yep.
So test them once a month.
Yep. And this is the double tap. 2 wires going in there, 2 wires going in there. Some breakers are designed to hold this, but this main breaker on the top never should have that. And these are different size wires, so that's not good. That's bundle neutrals. Very easy to fix. You actually see there's terminals up here and no wires. You just take one of the extras and move it up there.
Yeah.
That's all. Have an electrician do it because you want to make sure the power's off. You can do it safely.
Excuse me.
But you want that improved. Very easy. And here's a GFCI test reset button. Like Laura said, supposed to be tested once a month. Very easy to do. We had another question before. Somebody wanted to know if you're allowed to attend the inspection. We encourage you to be at the inspection. Some people, we've heard some people tell you, hey, come for the last half hour, and they'll give you a tour of the whole house.
That's not enough time.
No, that's not enough. That's not enough time, because let's say it's a 12 to 3 inspection. We have to give the house back to the sellers at 3 o'clock. We can't hang out there going through everything. So we encourage you to come to the house in the beginning, stay as long as you want up until that time frame, and then when you're there the entire time, this gives you time to tour the house, take measurements if you want, figure out how your stuff's going to fit. And as we see issues, we can go, hey, I'll show this to you, and you know exactly how big the issue is and where it's at. My one example is like a deck. Deck has a band board, well, a ledger board where it's attached to the house, and say it's rotted. If you're not there to see it, you may think it's the whole freaking thing is rotted out when it's only one little section, and we can help you put things in perspective. So we want you to attend the house.
Well, not only that, but I know a lot of our guys show like little maintenance tips, like here's where your furnace filter goes, here's how often you should change it, here's where your water shutoff is. And it's a lot of basic information about the house in that 2.5 hours that you would not learn living in the house for a month or two, that it's that helpful for you.
Yeah, so you always want to attend. Heating, cooling, common things. It wasn't serviced or cleaned recently, maybe dirty air filters. Ductwork may be a little loose or something like that. But we always take we're doing the test of air conditioner. We're taking thermometers to test for the temperature difference, make sure it's cooling the air like it should. We look at the flames for the color, if it's a gas furnace. Once again, none of the stuff is really terrible or expensive to fix. Not being serviced, I've heard a special deal. They're doing like $75 an HVAC company come and do a cleaning to it.
Yep.
Easy stuff. Nice blue flames there. Water heaters, age. This goes for every appliance in the house. Just because it's old doesn't mean it's a material defect. Which,
right, honey?
Yes, we all get older. It doesn't mean it's a material defect. We've seen water heaters typically like 8 to 12 years. I'll tell you they'll last maybe 10 to 12 years. We have come across water heaters that were 50, 60 years old.
Which still is amazing to me.
Still working great.
I want that kind of water heater.
Take care of your stuff. It can last a long time. Furnaces, same thing. They can last a long time. Just take care of them.
Get them serviced.
Yep.
Just don't let that go.
Yep. Now it is common to find corrosion on the fittings on a water tank. You want to keep an eye on that. But it is a common find. As long as it's not actively leaking, I would just monitor that.
Okay.
TPR valve, that's a temperature pressure relief valve. That's a little valve. It's on the side. It's high up on the water heater, maybe the very top or on the side. It will, if the water gets too much pressure, it'll open up, let hot water and steam come out. Those sometimes leak. Once again, not an expensive thing to take care of. Interior, wall cracks, if they're perfectly straight, not a big deal. It's very common to find that. Sometimes windows, they'll get foggy between the panes of glass and the double pane. Pretty common. It's not, and you do not have to replace the entire window if that happens. We have one, maybe two in our house right now that have broken seals. They're starting to get a little bit of condensation and stain in between. It really does not affect the insulation very much. Windows overall aren't great insulation in the first place for the house. So getting a new window is not going to change things dramatically unless you go from single pane to double pane. So not a big deal. Because companies can replace just the glass instead of the whole window, saving you lots of money. Do not let a window company talk you into that.
Wall cracks. I do want to make one note. Sometimes in the wintertime, at the very top where the ceiling meets the wall, you'll get a crack where it separates, and that is called roof lift.
There's truss uplift.
Truss uplift.
There's some seasonal stuff because during the winter, houses dry up. They get very dry, especially up in the attic space. Like, hopefully they have good ventilation. The wood dries, it shrinks, and it'll just kind of curve up a little bit. Pretty common. Not, once again, it's not a big thing.
Just to let you know, because that is something that I've had questions about over the years. People asking that, and we have that in our own house actually.
Oh yeah, and we'll find outlets that are loose or not wired correctly. Meaning some of the wires are like, you got the hot and neutral wires, they are reversed. Easy to fix for an electrician. Not a big deal. Attics, roofs, depending on the age of the house, insulation issues, stains from leaks. That's what I'm talking about regarding there. I almost expect every house that's at least over 20 years old to have some kind of stain, because at some point a leak developed. It's not a big deal. Now, if you had a leak and went on for like years, all right, that's going to be a big deal. That's probably it probably damaged some sheathing, which is definitely repairable, but just the stain by itself is not a big deal. Critters, you don't want mice up there or raccoons. It is fairly common. EPA did a study of allergens in houses, and 82% of the houses they studied had a rodent allergen in them, which I'm assuming was mice. So once again, a common thing. It doesn't matter. One of the most mouse, I don't want to say infested, but the house that I've seen that had the most mice in there, evidence, was a very nice house. So it means nothing what neighborhood the house is in. They can be anywhere, or country even. And
if it's in one area of the house, chances are it's all through the house, because they're mice.
Yep.
They creep and crawl.
They do. And home inspectors are not like critter. We're not
critter control.
We're not licensed for that. No inspector I know of is also licensed to look for.
I know in Ohio
for animal and wildlife. So you need a special license to do that. If we see it, we'll make note, but there's no way inspectors involved in identifying any of that stuff.
Or how severe the issue is, because we can't move insulation. We're very limited in our inspection to just what can be seen. We can't move anything to look underneath or behind.
We see a lot. We can report a lot. There's some things that are outside of the scope. Now, we can, in the attic, we can make a determination if it's ventilated enough, because you don't want the attic getting too hot in the summer. And of course, in the wintertime, you don't want it getting too warm, because then you get ice dams and other issues. And another thing we look for is bathroom vents. Very common. The bathroom vents do just take the shower steam and put it up into the attic space, at least until 2001.
Yeah.
After 2001, they're taken all the way to the exterior of their house. They're supposed to. Not always.
Not always.
So basement crawl spaces, I think I said earlier, it's Ohio.
It's going to be what?
There's going to be some dampness. It's common. We are living basement. I mean, it's underground, so it's going to be common. So some moisture stains is very common.
Dehumidifiers are your friend.
Yeah, and just because the house has a dehumidifier does not mean that there's a flooding issue in that house. We tell all the home buyers, we have one in our basement as well, that just have the dehumidifier in there and have it set to, if the humidity gets say above 60% or higher, it turns on to take the humidity out of there. Best thing to do that. All right, sample reports. I'm not going to get into this too much, but you want to be familiar with reports. So go to our website. You should be able to see this. Go to our website. It's homeinspectionsinohio.com. Resources and reports, sample report, and you see a list of different reports that we have here. We've done like hotels, churches, larger office buildings. But look at the luxury large home and then the duplex, you'll find very similar things. Each of those have roof issues, they have grading issues. They both have downspouts that don't take the water far enough away from the house.
They had very similar issues.
Very similar issues. The idea that an expensive home is going to be problem free is definitely a myth.
No.
So every house has issues. So I would want you to look and get familiar with what the reports look like. And this is what ours look like. There's hyperlinks that take you straight to the areas of the house, the systems, but there's cracks, there's trip hazard there. There's minor cracks in the foundation. There's a downspouts not taking the water away. Those are barely connected. Those are disconnected there.
So those are things that you're going to see pretty much on every report.
Yeah.
Downspouts and grading.
I mean, for this house, larger house, I mean, per se, it's a larger area to have issues with.
Right.
So I personally would never really want a massive house, but there's going to be issues.
It's because you're
every
not
house.
fixing anything in the house.
I don't like fixing that. No, I have to be in the mood to it. But I also want things maintenance free. I want things to last a long time. But anyway, every house is going to have some type of issue. So what you should do is look at the reports. Do this on your own time. Look at a couple different ones. Here's we don't want to look. This is do the newer home sample. This house is not very old. I don't know the age of this house actually, but once again, there's some stuff that we're gonna put on every single house. Attic structure look good on this. There's like gaps in certain things. There should be cracks on the slab and then the concrete. There's always going to be some stuff going on.
Always.
Yep. So let's go back. So, other question we've had: should you have an inspection done on a new home? Do you need that? Go ahead, Laura.
Yes, you should. We do 3 different types of inspections. We do a pre-drywall. We do what we call a final walkthrough, which means.
So you're talking if they're building the house, so they have it done. Yes, you do if you're building a house, but so the house is already built, you should still have it done.
Oh yeah, you should always have an inspection done because you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah, well, I did a new build the other day. Nobody's lived in this house once yet, and the way they have the water line set up is come winter, the water line that's running through the attic is going to freeze, potentially bust and flood the kitchen ceiling.
Yeah,
because of the way they have this thing set up. So always get inspected. Thermal imaging, somebody want to know at one point, does that see through walls? No, it does not. What it does, it shows temperature. It shows subtle temperatures of the surface. So if the wall behind me was wet, as it dries, it's going to evaporate and get a little bit cooler. So the thermal imaging camera can see the cool spot. So the thermal image would show like a weird, a
cool area,
a weird pattern to it, and then we'll take the moisture meter and confirm.
Right.
What is this wet, dry? Is it just missing insulation that's making it do this weird pattern? So that's what that's for. And yeah, home inspections are not just for older homes.
No, you should have them, especially for people who have never purchased a house before. That home inspection, at least with us, is going to give you so much basic information about the house, how to change out your furnace, how to turn off the water. Yeah, change out the furnace filter, how to turn off your water if you've got a leak. We have people that have called us and they have had absolutely no clue what to do when something happened because they didn't go to the inspection or they didn't have one. And now they're like, help, please. And so we'll come in and we'll do the inspection and we'll teach them about the house that they've already purchased.
Well, a year or so ago, people were starting to waive home inspection, was a terrible idea.
Right.
So what we found out that we started doing is people, after they moved in the house, they started having issues. So then they started
getting calls.
contact trying to figure out help and information on what's going on with the house. And then people shifted and go, hey, because they felt they had to waive the home inspection. As soon as they closed on the house, before they even moved in, they were having us go there, do an inspection for them so they know exactly what to fix to
Right.
nip those problems like
Immediately.
early. Yes. Somebody asked this one time, do sellers have to fix what the home inspector finds? No. And this is going to vary. This is where you need to be in good communication with your agent. If you don't have an agent, let us know. We
We've
can
got
give,
several that
we
give
have some
names on.
we can recommend. There's some we would not. This is just the way they are. But depending upon the contract, it may be a deal where the sellers have no ability to help fix anything, or
We've done several estate sales where
Estate sales.
the kids have been selling the house and they didn't live in it, and
so they know nothing.
they know nothing, and it was just, it got dropped in their lap. But
Yeah.
we've had a couple the past few weeks that have been like that.
Yeah, the proper disclosure, it's a start, but it is nowhere. It's not going to give you nearly as much information. And we see
No,
the proper disclosures be inaccurate
yeah,
before, and we've seen them not be updated when we know at times they should have been updated.
right. So it is definitely something that an inspection is for your protection.
Yep. But anyway, as a home buyer, go to our website. It's homeinspectionsinOhio.com. If you're watching us through the YouTube video, there'll be a link going to the website. If it's through the podcast, well,
Same thing.
the same thing. There'll be a link somewhere, but you know who we are. It's, Habitation Investigation. Go to the website, find those sample reports, get used to them. That way you know what to expect when you have your own home inspected.
Yep.
Right. Any other questions you can think of?
I actually call the report the honey-do list. You take what you cannot live with and you want the sellers to fix, you work that out with your agent, but what is left is basically your maintenance items. So you just slowly whittle those down as you live there and you get things fixed. And then by the time you go to sell it, if you ever do, the house is in better shape than when you bought it.
Yep.
And it will have increased in value.
And that's another question. Some people ask can you do inspections for sellers?
Yes, we have done that.
We have done that pre-listing inspection before they even list the house. We do the inspection, and actually that works out well for the sellers because they can, if whatever's wrong, they on their own time frame, no time pressures, no
Contract.
somebody trying to get. Can you get a real expensive guy there to fix it for me? He's like,
Right now.
no, they can fix it themselves or hire somebody, a fan or somebody at a reasonable price, fix it, and sellers actually save money.
Yes.
And the house closes about 2 weeks early on national average if it was pre-inspected. We also have done inspection for people who are no plans to sell their house. They just want to know what's going on.
Yeah.
And that's getting more and more common. Like for radon testing, which is not part of the normal home inspection, but radon testing, the EPA tells people they need to get tested every 2 years.
Yep.
I'm thinking that's
a good time
a
to
great
do
idea, but
maintenance.
home inspections, I'm thinking you should at least have your home inspected every 5 years at minimum to get looked at. Because trust me, things are going to change on that roof.
I think every 2 years. I think when you do the radon test, you should, just have a quick look around. Is there anything going on with the roof? Are there any leaks? Is there any movement in the foundation? It doesn't have to be, like the big full blown one. You can do like a partial inspection and hit those major areas that you could be concerned about.
Yeah. I would love every 2 years, but I don't see people want to do that. So maybe they compromise, do every 3, get both done. But anyway, any questions, contact us. Happy house hunting.
Good luck.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
You've been listening to the Standing Out in Ohio podcast. Be sure to subscribe on Spotify or Google Podcasts to get new, fresh episodes. For more, please follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, or visit the website of the best Ohio home inspection company at homeinspectionsinohio.com or jimtroff.com That's JIMTROTH, and click on podcast. Until next time, learn and go do stuff.